Today we're going to be discussing weapon weight. If you have to leave your house, what should your weapon look like? We're going to have to cover a couple of other unrelated topics to make it consumable and understandable. To help you understand, the best way to support the channel is to purchase a patch from ShopOnlyTacticalFans.com. You can purchase this beautiful Freedom Star with not one but two Scar 17S's crisscrossing on a single patch with a Velcro backing that can stick directly on your bug out gear. So, we're going to rewind back. We're going to back this train on up to when you're 18, you've seen your first action movie, and you were thinking about, what would I want to take if I'm forced to leave my location?
Run! Go! Get to the chopper!
Now, I understand if you live in the cities and stuff like that, should something happen, yeah, you're likely going to be forced to leave your location, so this is a bit more real for you than it is for a lot of other people. Hypothetical scenario, that Chinese weather balloon, let's pretend they launch 40,000 of them. Just fill the sky full of weather balloon, and somewhere in those 40,000 balloons, 10 of those have EMPs that they detonate over the country, which affect everything in line of sight, so you're looking at taking out like entire states. Even if they just hit, like, say, New York and California, all electronics don't work, those people would influx into the country, it would eat us alive. It would. It'd be catastrophic on an exceptional level. Now, let's say they detonate 10 of them randomly across the country and basically wipe out the entire country. Yeah, that's a problem. And no, you can't just live inside your bunker or stay inside your house because information is valuable. You gotta know what's going on. For all you know, there could be a tank convoy headed right to your house. You have to exit your house and gather information. If for no other reason, even if you got food, everything you could ever want, you need that information. Yeah, you could have like a ham radio or something set up, but if you already have towers and that's set up, to the best of my knowledge, the EMP would travel through the wires and take out your ham radio. So, with that into context, let's back this train on up to when you're 18 years old and you see your first action movie and you start putting a list together of things you'd want if you were to go out in the wild. Just to make it real so we understand why weapon weight is important.
Murdoch, I'm coming to get you.
Because it doesn't really seem important, but it truly is. So the list of stuff that I've put together that when I was 18 years old I would have loved to have on my person when I exit my house would be, 1, a tactical rifle. Now you might be thinking, oh, that's 8-9 pounds. No, you're looking at 12 to 14 pounds if you set it up in a tactical manner. That's with a PEC, your main sights, your backup sights, your sling, your white light. Like, you are legitimately looking at a 12 to 14 pound rifle. I'll roll in pictures of rifles right here with their actual weights, just so you understand how fast a rifle gets heavy when you start putting stuff on it. For example, the M27, that's almost 13 pounds, and this is more or less exactly what every AR15 in America looks like. Just because people don't know any better. Yeah, we're using like M-LOK now, so it is going to be lighter because we don't have the Picatinny rails, but really, like, take off the weight of the rail. That quad rail probably weighs like a pound, 2 pounds, so now we're looking at like 10 to 12 pounds. That's still a tank. This is the wrong way to set up your rifle. So, you got your tactical rifle, 12 to 14 pounds, easy. Again, rolling in rifle pictures right here with actual weight so you understand how fast they get heavy. Next, PVS 14 with batteries, you're looking at about 2 pounds. Then you're going to want some sort of fixed blade knife so you can clean deer, do some light firecraft, like make food, combat knife. Easily a pound, easily. Then your firecraft stuff, that would be like a saw, an axe, maybe a machete, maybe a flint, some lighters, something like that. Easily 3 pounds. Now a backup handgun. So you got your handgun, which is 2 pounds, roughly 2 pounds of ammo and magazines with it, roughly another pound for a holster. Looking at 5 pounds right there. Oh, can't forget the body armor. Gotta have body armor. Body armor. 15 pounds. Each plate weighs like roughly 9 pounds, 8 pounds, somewhere in there. So with the chest rig and that, easily 15 pounds, probably even heavier. Helmet, tactical helmet. Gotta have your tactical helmet, you know, for your PVS 14 to go on the front, the battery pack to go on the back. The helmet stripped bare with absolutely nothing on it. No electronic hearing protection, no PVS 14, 3 pounds. Then you got your trauma kit. Your first aid kits from Amazon that have like Neosporin and Band-Aids in them weigh a pound. So a real trauma kit, easily 3 pounds. Then rifle ammunition. Everybody seems to talk about 240 rounds of ammo being what you want to have. 7 pounds. Some sort of food. I don't care what it is, but food. 8 pounds. Water, 4 pounds. And this is only like 2 or 3 days worth of survival of food and water. Sleeping bag, knee pads, poncho, clothes you're wearing, the backpack itself. 15 pounds, roughly. Now, again, this stuff can all vary in weight depending on how you decide to set it up, but that's just to put it into perspective. So this minor, what most people would call inadequate bug out kit, 78 pounds. That's insane. The rule is you don't want to exceed 25% of your body weight. So for most Americans, you're limited to 30 pounds. That's it. 30 pounds. And it's not because you'll get exhausted fast, or you're not strong enough, or you need to do more cardio. When you exceed 25% of your body weight, because of the weight you're putting on your ankles and stuff, should you step on an uneven surface wrong, there's a rock in the road and you step on, boom, you just rolled your ankle. Fall down a hill, break your leg. You're more likely to wind up being in a worse situation carrying a heavier pack because of the likelihood of injury catastrophically goes up when you exceed 30 pounds. Now I get a bunch of Marines, Army men, stuff like that are gonna be like, well, when I was in basic training, you know, I'd be hiking with a 90-pound pack or a 60-pound pack. Understand though, that's training. That is in a controlled environment. If you get injured, well, they'll have 2 guys come in with a stretcher, pick you up, take you back, and then medically discharge you. Not a big deal. The whole point of them loading you up like that is so, in the worst case scenario, your buddy gets shot, you know, leg blows off, and you have to get him out of the field. You're strong enough to be able to throw him over your shoulders and carry him out of the field. When you're actually like in Vietnam, Iraq, something like that, you're either mobile in a helicopter or a Humvee or something like that, or in Vietnam's case, as soon as you actually go into the bush, here's 30, 20 round magazines, take everything else off because you're gonna die with that much weight on you. We'll have one guy with a rocket, you know, your M60, and everybody splits up the ammo between the whole group, and that's honestly how you get away with being able to carry more stuff. You either have a bunch of people in some sort of team setting, and everybody takes a little bit of the load, and you spread it over across the whole team, so not one person's carrying 78 pounds. It's spread out, so everybody's still limited to 30 pounds. Or you have some sort of a horse, a donkey, a golf cart, some sort of vehicle. Well, obviously in this situation with EMPs, vehicles are out of the question, so unless you own a horse, and even a horse and a donkey, they're limited to about 30% of their weight. So don't overload them, otherwise you'll hurt them, and then they're going to be useless too. And then you have a 1,500 pound hamburger you have to try to eat really fast before it goes bad. So, now that we're not 18 and we don't watch action movies and we put a realistic spin on this, if I have to leave my house, what can I actually carry? You start going through the list and axing things. So, there goes your knife, your PVS 14, maybe Firecraft you'll keep, but again, you're going to limit this down. You'll probably make knife and Firecraft 1. So you're looking at your 1 pound knife and a lighter maybe. Handgun, that's out of the question. You can't carry that, that's way too heavy. Body armor, nope, that ain't gonna happen. Helmet, nope. Trauma kit, you might carry like a tourniquet, but other than that, your trauma kit's gone. Extra rifle ammo, that's gone. You're gonna carry that down to like maybe 90 rounds, so it's 3 pounds instead of 7. Food and water, well, you need that. You can't take that out of the kit, but you can knock water down by switching to like a life straw or something like that. Sleeping bag, knee pads, all that stuff, that's pretty much gone. You might carry like a poncho to make a quick shelter and just wear warm clothes. So, with all that limited down, we're still overweight. So what's the next thing you can take down? You get rid of the tactical rifle.
You send that many, don't forget one thing.
What?
A good supply of body bags.
Alright, so we're going to go through a hypothetical AR15 build, like the exact same build I see every single person in America build. This way you can get an idea of how quickly the weight adds up. So first off, we're going to start off with an AR15. I just picked PSA because that's the general, what most people would call mil-spec AR15. That was the only reason I picked them, was just to get that particular weight, which was 6.8 pounds. We haven't even put a magazine in it yet, so slap a magazine in there, that might be magazine weight because 6.8 seems kind of heavy, but we'll say it's not. So slap a magazine in there, you're at like 7.8, but we're just going to stick with 6.8, okay? The first thing you're going to look for when you build your particular rifle is it's got to have a 4150 chrome line barrel. A lot of people go with FN barrels because it's a very quality barrel. Next thing you want is a pinned on gas block. You do not want a tensioning system. Remember, that gas block is going to get hot and cold. How do you get loose a stuck bolt? You heat it up and you cool it off. Unless you stake everything and Loctite it, there's a good chance you're going to have a gas block failure, which is typically where this particular rifle fails. Now, you're going to want a chrome line bolt carrier. So the next question you're probably thinking about is, do I want piston operated or do I want DI? Piston operated, there's no advantage unless you're running a silencer. The DI is lighter. I've tested it. Grantham's tested it. InRange TV has tested it. Military Arms Channel has tested it. Every single time, the DI outperforms piston operated in reliability testing except for one test, and that's when you're dealing with dirty water. Specifically talking about an AK, there's enough holes in the receivers to where the water just drains out. But if that substance can hold its shape, like snow, mud, anything like that, the DI outperforms any piston-operated system because that gas comes into the receiver, pressurizes the receiver, and it blows the crap out of it. It puts supersonic pops in there, and it cleans itself out. I know that's not supposed to be the way it works, but unfortunately that's reality. That's just the way it works. DI is a more reliable system under almost all circumstances. There are a couple of niche circumstances, but almost under all circumstances over piston operated. So you're going to want to go DI. Better system all around. Okay, so we've got the rifle. We're sitting at 6.8 pounds and we have 0 sights on it. So let's start putting the rifle together. Rear sight, we're looking at 4 ounces. That's if you go with the military sight. Yes, you can go with Magpul plastic sights. I do not recommend that. The military sight has the range on it. So all you have to do is guess how far away your target is, flip it to that number, and you can get shots on target. It's simple. Now, there is an argument here for keeping it at this point or going with an A2 setup. If I just threw on the rear sight, didn't change anything else at all, I would be sitting just over 7 pounds. Close enough. Or if I went with an A2 system, I'd already have the sights and I'd be sitting at roughly 6.8 pounds. Because of how the receiver's made differently, it comes out to about the same exact weight as if you don't have a carrying handle on there. Now, if you put a carrying handle on a flat top receiver, that's going to be heavier. Obviously, you're adding more material. But when you get rid of the Picatinny rail, all the material there, and you make a carrying handle, it's pretty close to the same weight. The A2 will be slightly heavier, but not by much. So you have your A2, you throw a sling on it, you have about a 7-pound rifle. That's reasonable. That is a doable rifle that is light. It's easy to use. You could add a lot of food and water onto your supplies at that point because you have so much weight freed up. But we're not doing that in this particular case. Alright, so then the next thing I see every single person do is change out the handguard. Gotta have a different handguard on there. I just picked a random handguard. Midwest Industries is a popular one. The weight on that is 11 ounces. Now we're going to skip over the sighting systems because we'll get to that later. Next thing I see everyone do is a night vision laser. Got another 8 ounces there. Then you got your accessories, your sling, your forward grip, your ambi controls, the list goes on. I only put 2 pounds. That's being generous. That's realistically probably somewhere around like 3.5 pounds with accessories. Oh, and then can't forget about the white light. So we put the white light on there. 5.5 ounces. What are we sitting at here? Without even putting glass on it yet, we have a 10.73 pound rifle. 11 pounds essentially. There's no glass on it. Now let's talk about the glass for a second here. If we go with an LPVO, yeah, your typical scope weighs right around 1 pound, but now you gotta put rings on it, so now you're looking at 1.5 pounds. So if I put an LPVO on this particular setup, we're now looking at almost a 13-pound gun. That's insane. Say we went with an ACOG, which I honestly think is an excellent choice. You get a little bit of magnification and it's stupid light. You're looking at 8.3 ounces. So now we're just over 11 pounds with an ACOG. Okay? What if you went with like a red dot with a magnifier? I picked EOTech for this particular one. EOTech plus a 3x magnifier. 1.5 pounds. Again, we're back up to 13 pounds for an AR-15. Now remember, in this hypothetical situation, there's an EMP. Unless you have a horse, you're carrying everything yourself. At 13 pounds with a maximum carrying weight of your persons, with 30 pounds, put clothes on there. What about extra ammo? What about food? All that is gone because you decided a 13-pound rifle was acceptable. You need to trim it down. And at 13 pounds, my SCAR, with an ACOG on it, a sling, and a magazine weighs 9.8 pounds. Would you rather have a 13-pound AR-15 or a SCAR 17 with an ACOG? Like for real, that's the question you need to start asking when you're at like over 10 pounds for a rifle, because at over 10 pounds, you could most certainly put together a 308 without a problem. You can run a 308 at that weight class. So, is a 5.56 still beneficial when the rifle weighs 13 pounds? That's debatable. For me, no. Not because the SCAR can outperform an AR-15, but because that is the platform I have the most trigger time on. And that is important. What rifle do you know best? You may want to take a slightly heavier rifle just because you have more trigger time on it, because that's the rifle you know. But now when you're putting together your EMP, I need to leave my house because the radiation zone is closing in, you need to trim it down. If you're going to run glass, you need to run that thing bare. You get your rifle, you don't take anything off of it, you don't add anything to it, and you add glass that does not require batteries. So let's say I just took the 6.8 pound rifle, didn't put a white light on it, didn't put a rail on it, didn't put any of that crap on it, and I just throw on an LPVO. Now I'm like about 9 pounds. That's reasonable. Let's say I took the 6.8 pound rifle and I put an ACOG on there. So I'm not even adding another pound. I'm just over 7 pounds. That's reasonable. Now you're saving up a whole bunch of space for things you are for sure going to use. Because you may or may not use your rifle. I mean, every situation will be differently, but you will use your food, you will use water, and you will use your fire starting and stuff. So what's more important? A rifle that's all tactical out, or like, I don't know, a granola bar? You see where I'm going with this? Like, making your rifles heavy, you're cutting your own throat, you're taking away weight that you could be spending on something you're for sure 100% going to use. Are you going to use a PEC? Are you going to use like a white light? I don't know. We went through Vietnam without them. Like, are you going to use food? Yes, you will for sure 100% of the time use food. Are you going to use water? Yes, 100% of the time. Are you going to use a map? Yes, 100% of the time. You're probably not going to use a night vision laser. You're probably not going to use a white light. And your handguard probably isn't going to benefit you in any superficial way, except for, you know, making your ankle sore because it weighs too much. So, that's what we're getting at here. And that's the whole thing. Now, could you take like a little rail section and put it on your plastic handguard, and then your light that you have in your pack can also be attached to that? Now you're thinking. That's an excellent idea because you're doubling up a flashlight and a white light. You're putting them both into one particular tool, and you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. That's the kind of thinking you need to be doing about this. Because you could put a little rail on the side of your plastic thing. You just drill 2 little holes and it bolts right on. Simple. And you've added like practically no weight whatsoever to your rifle. And you just don't run the light on there unless of course you need it. Like you're running patrol on your camp. Because you're going to move in the daytime, not at the nighttime. Because again, you don't want to face plant in the dirt when you're trying to use your night vision goggles in the middle of the night and you trip over something you don't see because your depth perception's all messed up. You don't want to take any unnecessary risks at all. A simple sprained ankle can mean the difference between life or death. So, that is the problem that people have with the AR-15s. They attach boat anchors to them. That's terrible. Don't do that. I mean, yes, inside your home, totally different story. If you're building a rifle for strictly inside your home, put on your PEC, put on your white light, throw your special Magpul stock on there, put ambi controls on it, and have slings hanging off of it with an 80 round magazine that has a upside down 100 round drum attached to it, because it doesn't matter. You're walking across your house. You're not gonna, you could sprain your ankle, but the point is the weight is irrelevant. If you have a convoy of vehicles and you're going in, yeah, then the weight doesn't matter. If you're in a team situation and they're like, hey, you're gonna basically be our RPK guy or our machine gunner, we will need you to have like a binary trigger, a whole bunch of ammunition, stuff like, yeah, that makes sense because that's all you're carrying. Your rifle and your ammo, and maybe a day pack, which will be like 10 pounds. Just enough to get you there and back. But like, radiation's closing in, you're just going out there to gather intel, you have no idea what kind of problems you'll have, or let's say you're forced to leave your house. No, don't bring that rifle with, man. Bring your plain Jane, non-modified AR-15 with like maybe a little plastic rail on it for a white light. Your flip-up back sight, maybe just run that. I don't know. I kind of like glass, so I would go that, plus an ACOG, a sling, and call it a day. So, I hope this video was at least somewhat educational. I know it's going to be super controversial. Just hop in the comments section, you'll see it. Anyway, if you'd like to help support the channel, definitely the best way to do it is shop at OnlyTacticalFans.com. Otherwise, you can click on my Amazon affiliate links, and almost all this stuff I'm talking about is right down there in the Amazon affiliate links. And even if you don't want to purchase those particular products, just clicking on that link and doing the Amazon shopping you were already going to do anyway. No kickback for it because you came there off my channel. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.